to CRE Fast 5, where we detail hot topics in commercial real estate in 5 minutes or less. I'm Carly Iacono, and tonight we are talking about change. The last 4 months have been an incredible disruptor for basically every industry. But out of intense lockdown and disruption comes massive potential for ingenuity, creativity, and inventiveness. So I want to give you some big picture things to think about, and maybe they will change the way you think about your own business or your own life. Let's jump in. First, in terms of retail, we've touched on this before, but it bears repeating. I do think that large omni-channel, well-capitalized brands will continue to do well if and only if they focus on safety, solidarity, and value to the consumer. So psychologically, we have most of the population who will fight change. It's just human nature. Change means uncertainty. Most people are risk adverse. So that will continue to be the case. So brands that can connect with the consumer and say, we're a comfortable place to shop. We have your best interest in mind. Come get your shirt, your soap, whatever it is. And this is a predictable part of your life. That's going to continue to work at least for the next few years, in my estimation. Now, conversely, brands that are outdated, over-leveraged, and are not adapting their message in the short term, in these 4 months, and are resisting to change or can't pivot quick enough, are going to continue to file bankruptcy. I think J. Crew is a great example of this, an iconic American brand that really has not changed at all. Their message hasn't changed. They took on too much debt. They just weren't pivoting fast enough. So we're going to see more of that if companies don't adapt quickly. Now, on the small business front, unfortunately, we're going to see a ton of closures, but I think before that happens, we are going to see a very big wave of small business sales or potential sales. Now, I don't do business sales, just real estate. However, I do expect that we're going to see just a ton of your delis, your clothing shops, dry cleaners, all of our small businesses go up for sale. Now, I don't think a lot of those are going to work. So unfortunately, after we see this wave of business sales, I do think we're still looking at another wave of closures, of small business closures. But what that means for the next level or the next phase of entrepreneurs is incredible opportunity. We're going to see equipment available at extremely affordable prices. We're going to see rents in some markets for small spaces and local retail drop 10 to 11% potentially. We're going to see some landlords consider percentage rent or more flexible lease structures to get some of these other small businesses to backfill the spaces. So the businesses that are being born right now in people's homes in this period, this pressure cooker of change, if you will, that the last 4 months have been, are really going to benefit if they can come up with this plan and launch sometime in the next 6 to 18 months. So I think we're going to have a really exciting next wave of small business, unfortunately capitalizing on the closures that we're going to see first. Now, my next thought is everything that can be digitized will be digitized. Think Zoom, right? Something that we all kind of knew about, but probably didn't really use very much before the lockdown. Imagine the wave of other companies trying to get in on digital meetings and networking now. It's going to be an incredibly crowded space. So that's just one very obvious example that's touched all of us. But anything that can be digitized and things that we haven't even thought of are going to be digitized. So just keep that in mind as you go through your day-to-day life, that is the next wave of sort of innovation, if you will. Now we're gonna see the change in 3 different phases. We have short-term innovation and change, which is gonna be in direct proportion or in direct answer to immediate problems. And these are things like shopper festivals that are happening in other countries where a whole bunch of different retailers will get together in a town, they'll shut down the streets, they'll have music, it's kind of like an arts festival, right? A way to engage again with the community and get people back into the stores. So we're going to have some short-term things as retailers try to figure out new ways to engage consumers and bring them back to their brands and to their stores. None of that's going to be really groundbreaking, but it will be kind of interesting to watch from a marketing perspective. Now, the midterm change, in my opinion, is where this starts to get really interesting. Midterm change is going to be in direct relation to issues that we're seeing right now, but maybe will take a little longer to implement. And things I expect are more artificial intelligence for health screenings, maybe an overhaul of the FDA. Just as you think about some of the real kind of pain points that everyone's experienced in the last few months, how do we overcome those? And people are working around the clock already to do so. Maybe it's a shift in cleaning procedures, things that we've been talking about for a while that are finally put into place. Going to be really interesting there. But where things get fascinating are in the long-term change. Now, by long-term, I mean 5 to 10 years. Remember, we're at this point where there are a lot of X factors, meaning things that are going to just launch new concepts faster than we could even imagine 6 months ago. So some things that I think will be fascinating to watch in the long-term, quote unquote, 5 to 10 years will be vertical takeoff and landing. Drones, of course, are already here, but they're not really being widely used. They will be. I expect that retailers, all different types of business actually, are going to start using drones for quick delivery. An hour, 2 hours will become the norm. 3D printing on demand, I think, is going to become huge as that technology improves. Smart clothing is another one where the fabric actually adjusts to your body size. You try it on and boop, it's the right size for you. So that will prevent waste and kind of help the flow of goods and services as well. We're going to see artificial intelligence all over the map. Virtual reality will become virtually indistinguishable from our current reality and will kind of rear its head in shopping and lots of other ways in our daily life. So my shopping experience in a store might be different from yours because of virtual reality. So there's some really big concepts out there. And I want you to start thinking about what you did last year and throw it out the window, because all we know right now is that we can't continue to do the same thing if we want to stay relevant. So how are you going to pivot your business, your investment strategy? How are you changing your life so that you are not one of the people clinging to what was, and instead you are looking ahead to what is coming and make sure you're a part of it. That was CRE Fest 5. I'm Carly Iacono. I look forward to seeing you again soon.